Okay, I know when Nez is on the camera, it doesn't really look like she wants to be, but she just walked up to me. I can almost hear her saying, Vincey, I need to see the viewers. She walked straight up to me. She said, I need to talk to everybody today. I thought you wanted to be on camera, but apparently not. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I'm done with her emergency calls and leaving her stranded? I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, 29 female, for 4 years, and we have a 3-year-old son. She's not a bad person, but she's constantly in a state of chaos, and every little thing becomes my problem. No exaggeration, I get these emergency calls multiple different times a week. Flat tire, call me at work, forgot her wallet, calls me, grocery store out of her favorite oat milk, blow up my phone like the world's ending. It's relentless. I work full time and I do my share at home with our son. Diaper duty and bedtime stories and cooking and cleaning, you name it. But these crises are killing me. I've told her before that unless it's a real emergency like somebody bleeding or stuck on a highway at nighttime, she needs to figure it out. I'm not able to drop everything constantly. The last straw came 2 days ago. I had to take my son to the doctor because he had an ear infection, and I was already running on fumes. While I'm in the waiting room with a fussy toddler, she calls me in a panic because she locked herself out of her car in front of a Target 5 minutes away from home. I told her, I can't leave. You'll have to call somebody to pop the window. She freaked out saying that would cost too much, she didn't bring enough cash, and that I was being unreasonable. I stayed firm. I said that she needed to figure it out, and then I hung up. When I got home later, she was furious. She said the guy charged her $150 and I should have come to help her because she didn't think to grab her wallet. I told her point blank, I'm done rescuing you from things that you can easily handle. You need to stop acting like everything's a disaster. Now she's barely speaking to me, acting like I'm the villain for not dropping everything for her again. My brother thinks that I was harsh, but my mum said that I was right to set boundaries. Am I the a-hole for leaving her stranded this time? No, I don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. Like if it was a one-time thing, that'd be a little bit different, I feel like. But by the sounds of it, this happens all the time. And for little stuff that really isn't an issue as well. And also, like the top comment says, not the a-hole, my car won't open. I'm at the doctor with our son. You're not the priority. OP said, that's exactly it. I was focused on our son, and it felt like she didn't really see what mattered. I can't keep on putting everything aside for every little issue. This comment says, not the a-hole. Your wife needs to be evaluated for executive dysfunction. This level of disorganization is not normal. Something's wrong. OP said, I see her getting flustered by everyday challenges, and it seems like she doesn't know how to cope without relying on me. It's tough because I do want to support her, but I can't be her safety net for every little issue. We need a better balance. Yeah, no, I don't feel like you're the a-hole. Yeah, like if it was a one-time thing, it wouldn't even be nearly as bad. But turning every little thing into a big issue and needing to have your partner there to help you get through it too. And especially in this situation where OP is waiting at the doctors with their son. This comment says, info, what happened in the grocery store out of the milk incident? OP said she called me while I was at work, freaking out about the grocery store being out of her favorite oat milk. It wasn't just a simple call, it was like the world was ending. She was insisting that I needed to help her find it, and when I suggested that she try a different brand or go to a different store, she acted like that wasn't even an option. It felt so unnecessary, especially when there are plenty of alternatives. It was just one of those moments that made me realize how overwhelmed I am with her constant crises. Yeah, that's not good. I didn't even think you were being serious about the oat milk thing. And now she's barely speaking to you? That's so wild. No, I don't think you're the a-hole, OP. Post number 2 says, am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister wear white to my wedding and kicking her out when she showed up in it? I, 27 female, got married 2 weeks ago, and it was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. My sister, 31 female, who I've got a complicated relationship with, decided to test me in the worst way. We've never been close. She's always tried to one-up me, even during family events. It's exhausting, but I figured that she'd at least behave at my wedding. Months ago, when I sent out the dress code, I made it very clear, no one wears white but me. It was not negotiable. My sister gave me an attitude about it, saying that I was being insecure and that no one cares about tradition anymore. What? I told her that whether or not she agreed, she needed to respect it. The morning of the wedding, she showed up wearing a floor-length lace white dress. It was practically a bridal gown. My heart dropped, and I straight up asked her what the hell was she thinking. She said, it's not that white, and besides, nobody's gonna care. I told her that if she didn't change, she wasn't welcome. She threw a tantrum about how I was ruining her day and stormed off telling everybody that I was being bridezilla. Some family members told me to let it slide because she's just like that, but I was done. So I told the staff not to let her back in unless she changed. She never came back, and now she's telling everybody that I ruined the relationship for good. My parents are mad, saying that I should have just ignored her because it's only a dress, but I feel like this was a deliberate choice to sabotage my day. My husband agrees with me, but some of my family are still pissed. So am I the a-hole? How is this one even real. There's no way. How would you ever be in the wrong here, OP? I'm guessing that you're questioning whether or not you're in the wrong because of what your family members have said. But no, of course you're not the a-hole. You ruined her day. The audacity. Oh, what's that? You don't want me to wear a white wedding dress to your wedding? What are you, insecure? And what else did they say? People don't care about those traditions anymore? You know full well that they do, and that's why you want to wear a white wedding dress to their wedding. Because your sister wants to one-up you once again. The top comment says, not the a-hole, your sister disrespected your clear dress instructions and showed up in a white gown almost identical to a wedding dress. She was trying to steal the spotlight at your wedding. You were right to uphold your boundaries and not let her ruin your day. Ignore the family members who say you should have let it slide. This was your special day and she didn't care. Yeah, saying to let it slide is so unbelievable. Like, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't let it slide if it was some other person. But what, because it's your sister you should? No, you shouldn't. OP said she had every chance to wear literally anything else, but she chose that dress on purpose. Letting it slide would have just given her permission to pull stunts like that at every major event. Some people need to learn the hard way that actions have consequences. Yeah, of course, and your sister is no different. Like, oh no, don't worry about her, that's just the way that she is. Well, she can leave. Yeah, and also this comment, she threw a tantrum about how I was ruining her day. Excuse me, you're ruining her day? What the actual not the a-hole, and I'd go low or no contact with everybody who said that you were at fault here. Again, what the actual yeah, what the actual meow indeed. How ridiculous. Like, oh yeah, I know it's your wedding day, but let it slide. Come on. This comment says your sister sounds like a total drama queen. If she can't respect a simple dress code, then she doesn't deserve to be at your wedding. You did the right thing by kicking her out. It's your day and you get to decide the rules. OP said, I refuse to let her drama overshadow one of the happiest moments of my life. I didn't ask her for much, just a little consideration. If she can't handle that, then she can miss out. Yeah, 1,000,000%. And of course too, like that one is so obvious. She doesn't only sound like a drama queen either, she sounds like a huge a-hole. Wow, the next one says, am I the gay hoe for snapping at my wife and calling her crazy because she wants me to take a paternity test for my nephew? So before we read this, OP's partner thinks that OP had a child with their sister. Just keep that in the back of your mind. My wife and I have been married for 10 years and together for 14. We're child free. I also have a nephew who's currently 13, and I'm not gonna lie, he looks a lot like me and has got a lot of the same facial features as me. I'm really proud of him and we do have a close bond. I have played a father-like role in his life since he was a kid. He's got a deadbeat father and my sister divorced him long ago. A couple of my family members have commented on how my nephew looks a lot like me, and while I initially thought that it was wholesome, my wife for some reason became very insecure and started getting doubts. She questioned why I needed to play such a prominent role in my nephew's life, why my nephew had autism, etc. The insinuation became weird and made me uncomfortable. I do agree that my sister has played some part in my wife's insecurities because of her dry humor. During family gatherings, my sister jokes a lot about how wholesome it is that her son looks like me and that she couldn't be happier. It's obviously a joke, but I spoke to my sister and asked if she could tone it down a little bit because it was making my wife a little bit crazy. However, last night my wife asked if I could take a paternity test for her peace of mind. That's when I finally snapped and called her crazy and that marrying her was the biggest mistake of my life. I did immediately regret saying it because I meant none of it. My wife is the love of my life, but my wife got quiet and started crying shortly after and I had to console her. Was I the a-hole? Right, okay, so I definitely wasn't expecting you to say that. I finally snapped and called her crazy and that marrying her was the biggest mistake of my life. That's a huge a-hole thing to say if you don't mean it, OP. Of course, even if you do mean it, it's an a-hole thing to say. But don't say stuff like that if you don't mean it. But also, what your wife is insinuating here is so wild. Of course, you definitely shouldn't have said what you said, OP. The part about marrying her was the biggest mistake of your life. But I still don't really feel like you're the a-hole here, OP. The top comment says she thinks that you had a baby with your own sister, not your brother's wife or anything, but your own sister. No, that is crazy. This comment says not the a-hole. Of course he has your genes from your sister, not from you. Jesus, send it to a biology class. This comment says, sorry, but somebody accusing me of sleeping with my sibling, I'm gonna say some kind of something to them, and it's not gonna be pretty. She doesn't get to cry and act like she did nothing wrong. Not the a-hole, and love of your life or not, your wife thinks that you slept with your sister. How do you come back from that? This comment says it's okay to be mad when somebody you love and trust accuses you of sleeping with your sister. Not the a-hole. You said some harsh stuff. She deserved some harsh stuff. Yeah, that's so unbelievable. Like, oh my god, I wonder why your nephew looks like you, OP. Is it because you're related, maybe? Like, what do you mean? Oh my god, you have a normal amount of resemblance to somebody that you're related to? No. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. And that is pretty insulting of her to insinuate that too. And yeah, like that comment said, how do you come back from something like that? Like, hey baby, you remember that time that you thought I slept with my sister? Yeah, that was pretty strange, wasn't it? Like, yeah, how do you come back from something like that? Obviously, you shouldn't have said what you said to her, OP, but it's a really odd and really insulting of her to insinuate what she was insinuating. Okay, I know when Nez is on the camera, it doesn't really look like she wants to be, but she just walked up to me. I can almost hear her saying, Vincey, I need to see the viewers. She walked straight up to me. She said, I need to talk to everybody today. I thought you wanted to be on camera, but apparently not. She's so talkative, and I wish I could catch that on camera, but it's really hard to. The next one says, am I the a-hole for asking my girlfriend to move out because she started a career as an influencer and stopped respecting my privacy? I've been living with my girlfriend for 2 years. At first, everything was great. We got along well. We spent time together and had a good balance between our personal life and being a couple. But a few months ago, she started building a career as an influencer. At the beginning, it was just a fun hobby for her. Some pictures, a couple of videos, nothing over the top. I always supported her and I was proud that she found something that she enjoyed. However, things quickly spiraled out of control. Our apartment has turned into her personal studio. Every corner has to be perfectly curated for photos. Every room is a potential backdrop for her vlogs. When I come home tired from work, all I want to do is relax, but immediately there's a camera in my face because she's filming content. Yeah, that's not okay. Even our private conversations are often recorded without my prior consent, and then I find them posted in her videos. It got especially awkward when she posted a part of a conversation where I shared something deeply personal, which I didn't expect to be made public. I tried talking to her about it, but she always brushes it off, saying that I'm overreacting and that it's just part of her job and that I should be understanding. Wow, the audacity. You are not overreacting. Over time, this has started to wear me down. I feel like I can no longer have any space in our home where I can just be myself without worrying about being filmed or photographed. A few days ago, after yet another incident where I came home and was caught on camera, I decided to have a serious conversation with her. I told her that I understand her influencer career is now an important part of her life, but for me, it's becoming too much. I suggested that maybe she should consider moving out. Not because I want to break up with her, but because I need a private space where I don't feel constantly watched. She flipped out and she said that I was selfish, that I wasn't supporting her career, and that I was trying to control her. Oh my god. She accused me of sabotaging her success instead of being proud of what she achieved. Now we're barely speaking and I feel like my boundaries and needs aren't even being respected at all. Yeah, because they're not. On one hand, I get her job excites her, but on the other hand, am I really the a-hole for just wanting some privacy and space in my own home? Am I the a-hole? No, of course you're not, OP. That's ridiculous. The entire place doesn't suddenly become her place. Your girlfriend is the controlling one, not you, OP. Oh, that's so infuriating. Oh, I'm sorry that I want to come home after work and not have a camera shoved in my face. Christ, of course you're not the a-hole. Your girlfriend sounds all sorts of selfish, not you. OP, I feel like you 100% need to show her this Reddit post. You are completely not in the wrong here. Like this comment says, not the a-hole. Your girlfriend is being selfish and ignorant for not respecting your privacy. Also, she had no right to publish the personal conversation that you mentioned without getting your consent before. She's using you in a way that you don't have to tolerate. So clearly she is the a-hole. And OP said that's why I can't take it anymore. Even though I love her very much, I want us to be able to establish some boundaries so that I can feel comfortable again and we can still have a good relationship. Yeah, and it's not like you're asking for much, OP. That is so wild. And the audacity to call you selfish when she's the selfish one. If you choose to try to build something on the internet, your partner does not become a prop for your photos and your videos. There are so many comments in the comment section here like this one that say online videos is not a job nor a career, not the a-hole. Like that's completely not true. It definitely can be a career or like a job if you want it to be a job. And that's not the point either. The problem here is how OP's partner is going about it, thinking they can use OP as a prop in their videos and their photos and stuff, and also recording conversations and using those conversations without even asking OP first. That is so not okay. And of course, OP, you're not the a-hole. But yeah, I wanted to mention that comment because there are so many comments here that are like, oh, being a content creator is worthless and all this sort of stuff. And it absolutely isn't. And I feel like it's definitely wrong to discourage people from doing stuff like that if they want to. Like being an an influencer is a little bit worse, like whatever that really means. I feel like the word influencer definitely has like negative connotations. But yeah, I don't want people thinking that you can't make a living out of making videos, because you definitely can. I'm doing it at the moment and it's going amazing. But yeah, OP's girlfriend is a giant a-hole here. And the audacity to call OP selfish too. That's so bad. Okay, the next one says, am I the a-hole because I didn't invite my father to my wedding? Because years ago he told me that I was no longer part of his family. I'm 28 female and I'll be getting married next month. I didn't invite my father to the wedding, but now he's trying to get in touch. I think I need to explain the context, because it all started when I was 6 years old, when my parents got divorced after my dad cheated on my mum with my stepmom. After that, I spent most of my time with my mum, but during holidays and vacations I stayed with dad. When I was 8, my half-brother Jake, 20 male, was born, and whenever I was with dad, I was forced to take care of him. When I started high school, I had to move in with my dad because my mum had to move abroad for work. This period was one of the hardest of my life. My stepmother wasn't a bad person. She tried to include me in stuff, but she was really submissive to my father. As for my dad, he always treated me like an extra in the house, somebody who didn't really belong there. I was constantly responsible for taking care of Jake, and whenever he went out, he'd only take my stepmother and Jake and never invited me. One of the most painful experiences happened when I was 14. My dad announced that the whole family was going to go to Disney for vacation, but the day before the trip, he told me that he wanted it to be a family moment, their first big trip with Jake, so I was left home alone. This had already become a pattern too. Trips to the beach and zoos or other outings always included just my stepmom and Jake, while I got left behind. My dad didn't like me going out with friends or inviting them over. He said teenagers together only caused trouble, and because he was controlling, he'd call the house phone at random times to check if I was home. He also had a trusted neighbor who'd keep an eye on me to make sure that I didn't have any visitors. When I turned 16, living with him, the feeling of being an extra only got worse. Everything I'd experienced during vacations, the exclusion and sense of abandonment, that all became part of my daily life. Things came to a head when I turned 18. My dad got a promotion at work and decided to take a family trip to Europe. Since it was my last year of high school, I was excited, thinking that I'd finally be included. But then he told me that he didn't have enough money for a trip for 4, so it'd only be to celebrate Jake's 10th birthday, and I had to stay at home. That's when I snapped. I told him that he was being unfair and that he shouldn't have given me false hope. I explained how I'd felt over the past years, and he called me ungrateful and spoiled, saying that I lived with him rent-free, which was a lie since my mum sent money to support me, and I did all the housework because both he and my stepmother worked late. The argument escalated and he kicked me out of the house, saying that I was no longer part of the family and not even his daughter. He literally threw me out and tossed my stuff onto the sidewalk. Luckily, a friend lived nearby and I stayed at her place that night. The next day, I went back to see if my dad had calmed down, but I found things still on the sidewalk and some of my stuff even in the trash. My stepmother had kindly saved a few things for me and handed them over. After that, my dad never reached out, except to call and yell at me a month after that my mum stopped sending him money for my expenses. And then a few months after, I got into an engineering program in another state where I met my now fiance Mark, 29 male. He was the senior and we soon connected, realizing that we had a lot in common. We started dating, we graduated and now work in the same field, though at different companies. A few months ago, Mark proposed and I happily said yes. I have social media, but I rarely use it. I've had Instagram for about 6 years, but I haven't even posted 10 pictures. I think one of my relatives told my dad about the wedding because about a month after I accepted the proposal, he reached out to me through Instagram saying that he was excited to help with the wedding. What the audacity! I was surprised both that he'd messaged me and that he genuinely thought that he could walk me down the aisle. I responded saying that he wouldn't be walking me down the aisle because my stepfather would, and that the wedding was going to be small just for my close family, and after that I blocked him. After blocking him and inspired by reading Reddit stories, I expected calls and messages and even letters full of insults like ungrateful or spoiled. However, the only thing I received was a letter delivered by Jake. Yeah, we still have contact. In the letter, my father expressed how sorry he was. I won't copy the exact words, but to summarize, he said that after kicking me out, he lived a normal life with my stepmom and Jake, but when he saw pictures of my graduation with my mum and stepfather, he started feeling regret. He wanted to talk to me, but his pride held him back. He only decided to reach out now because he realized that his pride got him nowhere, and that he wanted to fulfill one of the plans that he made when I was born, to pay for my wedding and to walk me down the aisle. To be honest, I don't know what to do. I've moved on with my life, and his attempt at redemption after so many years feels a bit too convenient. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to include my dad in my wedding, despite his apology? Note, my stepfather is an amazing person. He always goes out of his way to include me in everything, and my stepsisters are wonderful too. When he found out that my father hadn't taken me to Disney, he planned a trip for me the next holiday and took me along with my mother and sisters. This and 1,000 other reasons of why I want him to walk me down the aisle. Edit number 1, people are asking why my mum and stepfather left me with my dad and what their jobs are. My mum works as a programmer and was able to get a job abroad. She thought that it was best to accept it, especially since she wanted to save up a good amount of money to cover college and for the future. My stepfather is a researcher and was doing his postdoctoral work at the time. The first person to talk to me was my older sister, stepsister. 2 days after I got kicked out, she came to see me and even stayed for a few days, which I can barely remember because I was just crying. But I didn't move in with her because she lives in a different state, and I was almost done with my classes and my final exams. So my friend and bridesmaid let me stay at her house. Her parents helped me gather my things and even set up the guest room for me. No, once again, you are absolutely not the a-hole. The audacity of your dad. Yeah, like the top comment says, not the a-hole. Your biological father's regrets are his issue, not yours. Your real father, your stepfather, the man who treated you as a father should, is the one who should walk you down the aisle. That other guy is just a bad memory to put behind you. Yeah, completely. That's such a good comment. Like, oh no, actions have consequences. Yeah, that's not your problem, OP, and you're definitely not the a-hole. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. Your sperm donor gets to live with the consequences of his own actions. Yeah, that's right, and I feel like that's enough for today. That was such a fun episode, and I hope you guys had a good time today. I've got 2 cute, wholesome memes to show you guys. Meet Stanley. He wanted to show off his nice teeth to you. Aw, Stanley is so cute. Beautiful little teethy Stanley. Like, actually so cute. Shout out to you, Stanley. And also this one. As a gay man, I was nervous to invite my boyfriend to my grandparents' house because of their traditional values. This was my grandpa's reply. Mum might have told you already, but my boyfriend is coming to dinner. I hope that's okay. Splendid. Kenny arm wrestle. That's so beautiful, isn't it? Well, like Kenny arm wrestle. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time today. And if you did, make sure you subscribe if you want to. And the comment of the day goes to Thalanor Orkbreaker. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. My cat got exasperated because she couldn't figure out where the little meows were coming from. The bleeps in the video. I think she thought that I was hiding a kitten under my desk. Wow, that's so cute. Thank you for that comment. Say hello to your cat for me. That's so beautiful. Wait a second. I can hear a kitty friend. Your cat is already friends with Nez and they don't even know each other. That's so funny. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you for all the support, everybody. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!